Hey Divi Nation, thanks for dropping by our documentation to learn about Divi's circle counter module. So the circle counter module is an awesome way to display stats as well as other important numbers for your organization in a highly stylized way. We've got some great animations that create a rotating circle around the stat that you've chosen to display, as well as a ton of design options for you to make it look exactly the way you want it, and of course to fit in with your own brand and web design. So be sure to check it out. Here we go.
In this video, I'm going to give a brief overview of Divi's circle counter module. Now, the circle counter provides you with a beautiful way to display single stats on your website. And as you scroll down the page, the number counts up and the circle graph fills to the percentage-based location there that you have set. And you can combine multiple circle counter modules on a single page to give your visitors a fun way to learn about your company or your personal skills. In this case, I'm using this circle counter module to illustrate stats for a case study. I'm labeling each circle counter with a certain project feature, or in this case a goal, so that the user knows what services were included in the project. In this example, I'm using the circle counter to display 3 project goals: branding, web design, and SEO. Now, to get a better look at the settings of the circle counter module and to learn how to actually implement them on your site, I'm going to go ahead and enable the visual builder so that we can edit it. Now, in order to learn how to build this together and to go over some of the settings, I'm going to go ahead and delete these circle counters, and we're going to build them from scratch. So as you can see, I'm going to be using a 3-column structure row to add my circle counters. I'm going to go to my first row here, and I'm going to add new module. I'm going to search for the circle counter. And the circle counter settings box will pop up, and I'm going to start entering my title for my circle counter. In this case, I'm going to call it branding. And then you have a spot to enter the number here. Number is the percentage value that you want to add to this goal here. And as you can see, it's filling in nicely over here in my preview. And it's adding the default color that I have set in my theme customizer for the actual circle bar here. Now, continuing on in the content settings, I also have the option to turn off or on the percentage sign right here. If I turn it off, it'll just give it a number value. Maybe you don't want to use a percentage and you want to represent just a regular number value. You can do that here. I'm going to go ahead and keep the percentage for now. I could also add a background to my module here if I wanted to, but for now I'm just going to go ahead and continue on to our design tab. Now, in the design tab, you have quite a bit of options here to further customize your circle counter. Under the circle section, this is where you can change the actual circle bar design. You can change the color here. I'm going to go ahead and grab my orange color that'll match my site here. And I'm going to paste it in the color value section. And now you can see it's now orange, but there is also a circle color that you can change. That's actually this little snippet of the circle bar that is not colored in. You can think of it maybe as like the background of the circle here. And so whenever the color fills in whatever is not used, you can change that color there. Let's see. I could maybe give it a red or orange tint to it if I like that. And then you can adjust the color here. You can see that by default it's really light because that's purposeful so that the actual value here will stand out, but you could also change the circle color opacity here if you like as well. I'm going to actually grab a color here that matches the design of my web page, and then I'll paste it in, and that looks good. I'm going to keep the opacity where it is so that my orange value color will stand out a little bit. I'm going to keep the text color dark since I am on a white background. And the text orientation is going to stay centered there, but if I wanted to, I could make it left aligned. But on the, for most cases, you're going to keep it centered. And then the title text, that would refer to the text here at the bottom of your circle. You can make some customizations to that. I'm going to go ahead and increase the font size let's go ahead and make it 40. Actually, let's make it about 35. And the title text color, I'm going to go ahead and use the same color to match my site there. I'm going to keep the letter spacing the same and the title line height the same as the default. I'm going to change the number text here. That's the actual percentage number here inside the circle. And I'm going to give it a font of Roboto. And I'm going to keep the number alignment the same. Maybe tone down the number font size a little bit. Change my text color to match my page. All right, it's starting to look pretty good. The number letter spacing, I could change that, but I'm going to keep it the same. I think it looks good. The size of the circle counter can be changed by adjusting the width of the module. Just be careful because if you have, a large amount of text here, it will get broken as you scroll down or scale down the actual width of the module. One idea, if you did want to keep a smaller circle and your title text is getting broken, maybe you could just not use the title text and maybe put a text module underneath your circle counter here to serve as your text so that you can keep a smaller circle in your design. For now, I think the bigger circle looks good. I'm going to keep it. Could add some spacing for my module there if I needed to. And some further animation to the actual module as it appears. By default, you will notice the animation of the actual value will show. Using some lazy loading and stuff like that. But if you wanted to add another animation on top of that, you could as well. Maybe a fade or a slide in or a bounce. All right. In the Advanced tab, you also have the ability to add some CSS, some custom CSS, or if you wanted to assign a custom or unique, rather, CSS ID in class to target this module in a separate style sheet, you can do that. Or add your inline CSS to any of the elements of the module here. And of course, I can adjust the visibility by disabling this module on any of my devices here. All right, now that we have created our first circle counter, let's go ahead and save it out. And I'm going to speed up the process by copying this module. I'm going to right click on it, select copy module, and then go to the column that I want to place it in. Right click and click paste module. And I'll do the same for my right third row over here. Now all I need to do is update the actual content so it matches my site. I'm going to call this one Web Design. And I need to change the value here, so I'm going to go inside the module settings, and I'll change this one to, say, 90. And I'll call this one over here SEO. And let's go ahead and change the value of it to 70. Let's go ahead and save our page. I'm going to exit the visual builder so we can see what it looks like on the live site here. And there you go. There's your overview of the circle counter module.